If a DIB contractor has never received notice from the DoD of what CUI it has, so it's not getting any notification about what kind of CUI it's interacting with, how would the JSV, which stands for Joint Surveillance Assessment, determine what CUI the contractor holds?
Okay. Couple things. Probably the first thing that comes to mind. Joint surveillance assessments are not there to determine what CUI you hold. That's not the purpose of the assessment. The purpose of the assessment is to verify that your controls for protecting CUI are in place. Mm-hmm. The wrong time to start asking about your CUI is when your assessors show up, and the wrong person to ask about your CUI is your assessor, right? Don't do that, right? The whole idea is that they're showing up to verify an environment that is designed to protect CUI. So if you didn't know what CUI you had, I'm not sure why you are signed up for a joint surveillance assessment. If you're not confident that you have CUI in the first place, I'm not sure you need a joint surveillance assessment. A joint surveillance assessment is definitely the wrong time to start wondering about whether you have CUI. It's sort of like pen testing is great, right? But if you're using a very expensive pen test to find open vulnerabilities that you could find with like a normal free vulnerability scanner, not a very efficient use of your money. You know, maybe you could have used those resources for something else.
Okay.
So I've been in meetings before with John Ellis, right? The former director of DCMA DIBCAC, and he was very emphatic in some of these meetings when this similar question came up, where he was like, your DIBCAC assessors are showing up because someone has indicated inside the Pentagon that that's where the data is flowing. And so if it is a surprise to you that DIBCAC is giving you a call, then something got messed up way before that. It is not the DIBCAC assessor's job to evaluate your CUI. There have been some discussions around this about the fact that your assessors probably don't even need to see your CUI, and for the most part, they probably shouldn't. There's really no reason why they would need to be looking at schematics, and that's not what they're there for. They're not there to look at the CUI. They're there to look at your control environment. So, when it comes down to, how would a joint surveillance assessment determine if you have CUI? That's not what the joint surveillance assessments do. And I mean, it's the same question, it's the same answer that we always come back to. You got to talk to your customer. You have to get, into a position where you feel comfortable talking to them. You need to talk to a lawyer in terms of how you're talking to them. Whatever method you choose for engaging with your customer, that is really the only avenue for you to figure out, are you receiving CUI? Are you generating CUI? Did you get the right flow downs? Did you get flow downs that you didn't need at all because you don't have CUI, you don't generate CUI? Like, all of that stuff is between you and the customer way before the assessment gets started, whether that is a joint surveillance assessment, whether that is a CMMC assessment, whether that is a DIBCAC assessment. You got to talk to the customer. Got to.